Goblin Slayer. This is an adaptation of the popular anime series, and the game is now available for Nintendo Switch. Goblin Slayer can be described as a tactical RPG that places great emphasis on character management and optimization. The question is whether this game is worth buying. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. Let's go. Let's start with the plot. We get to follow our main protagonist called Guildmaster. Her father has died and now she is responsible for running her own guild. She teams up with different characters who affect the story in different ways, and together they will embark on a journey of epic proportions. What is worth saying is that the design is recognizable from Otome games. That is, you can expect extensive dialogues while we see still images of the characters. There are basically no cutscenes in the game. A lot can be described as filler content, but at the same time the dialogues contribute to broadening the narrative. Through all the interactions we get the chance to get to know most of the characters in depth. When it comes to the overall design of the game, there are really three parameters to be aware of. First we have all the battles, then we have all the interactions, and finally we have all the management. Usually everything starts in our hub, where we manage our troops. There is actually a lot to consider here. First we can enter the guild, where we can choose between different quests. There is always a main quest, but it's possible to choose other missions to obtain new equipment. You can also train your men to gain more experience and see how they perform in battle. Choosing the training missions is actually worth it if you want to level past the enemy, and can be the way to go if you want to have an easier journey. Some missions can be quite challenging, so the training missions offer an alternative if you're constantly losing and getting stuck in the game. With the training, it becomes easier to move on. In the Adventure tab, you can check each character's status and get an idea of whether they are the right choice for you. The characters themselves have unique abilities but can basically be divided into a couple of categories: healer, ranged or melee. You can also raise the rank, which unlocks new abilities, but you can only reach a new rank when you've reached a new level, so you have to use the characters in battle to be able to unlock new abilities and reach a new rank. But I find this to be quite an entertaining part of the game, as I feel the heroes getting stronger the further into the game I get. Some abilities that are unlocked are really strong and effective to use in battle, and it's only possible to use the coolest abilities if you reach a new rank. It's also possible to change equipment, but here I discovered a problem that was very annoying. When I needed to switch to a new item, I couldn't see the item's attributes, so I never knew what strengths or weaknesses the item had. It was only when I purchased items that the information was available. I don't know if this is a bug. It was never visible in the Change Equipment tab, so I could never switch to better items without having to visit the store for information. Very annoying. Maybe there is a solution, I don't know, but I haven't found it so far. So if you have played the game and know more about this, feel free to comment below. In the adventure list, there is also an index of all characters. There is a plethora of different heroes to choose from. This is definitely one of the game's strengths and contributes to a ton of experimentation. Perhaps you're not satisfied with a certain character, then you can easily exchange it for another. I noticed I was pretty heavy on melee, so I removed some and replaced with healers and ranged DPS. It worked quite well, because I wanted a mix of everything. New characters are unlocked later, and if you want to test all of the men, you have many hours of playing ahead of you. As I said, there are plenty of options. Then you can enter the workshop and buy equipment. Each character has 4 slots for weapons, accessory and armor. If you need money, you can sell used items here. You can also enhance your weapons and armor. By consuming crystals, your items gain better stats, which later come in handy in battle. There is also an item shop where you can buy magic potions and the like. However, I discovered something very strange. Apparently I could not use the potions in battle, even though I bought them. The only items that appeared in battle were the heal potions, but no others. Very strange. So I kind of got through all the battles without using any potions. The last thing I want to mention is the option menus, which are very useful. Above all, there are some really good guides if you need help with something. Overall, I have to say, despite the small quirks, the menus are very well structured and user-friendly. It is easy to navigate the menus and learn how the characters can be handled. In some games it can get very cluttered with an abundance of menus and bordering on too many choices, but in this game everything is kept at a reasonable level and it rarely becomes confusing. When it comes to the battles, everything is played out on the board and there are really few surprises. You can use 10 heroes that you strategically move across the board. When you are done with your moves, you hand over to the opponent and so on. There is a feature that is very useful. If you press the Y button, you can see the enemy's range and then you can strategically move your own troops without ending up in dangerous situations. I used this feature often, and this way I avoided taking unnecessary damage. One thing I have a problem with though is that you have to move each individual character one at a time. And this is extremely tiring and slows down the game tremendously. The biggest reason why battles take a long time is because of this. I would have liked to have seen a feature that allowed you to move all characters with the press of a button. Unfortunately, that option doesn't seem to exist. The level of difficulty feels very balanced though. Some battles can be a bit tricky, depending a lot on the opponent's attacks and abilities. If you make the wrong choice or go the wrong way, it is easy for the enemy to gain an advantage. Many of the courses usually have the same goal. You either have to eliminate all the enemies or take out the enemy's leader. It can get a bit monotonous in the long run and I would have liked to see more variety. There are certainly a couple of other variants, but it is not enough to create a good dynamic. There are also very few bosses in the game. Most of the time the enemies are evenly strong, so it's mostly about killing them one by one. Performance-wise, this is a solid game on the Switch. The game runs well in both docked and handheld mode. I haven't experienced the game crashing, and that's a positive. I would also like to add that the game can look small, especially in handheld mode, but it's possible to zoom in on the battles and that way you don't have to strain your eyes. So, is Goblin Slayer a game you should buy? The price is set at $40, but the last time I checked it was being sold at a discount. It is a relatively extensive game that alternates between the game's story and strategic battles. I think that if you play at a normal pace without stressing, it can take about 25 hours to get through this adventure. Roughly. Above all, I want to highlight all the management, which I thought was the game's asset. The battles felt somewhat generic and offered few surprises, but I still want to say that this can be worth the money given that it's a solid game that basically feels well done. It feels like the developers created a game without being careless. It is only in the battles that I would have liked to see more variety and a couple of minor problems in the menus, but overall I found it to be a relatively entertaining game. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, I review new games every week. Have a great day, see ya!